we're doing salmon today. You can, like Jen said, I mean, this is a great recipe. You can use ground turkey, lean ground beef, any sort of fish. I mean, you can do cod with cod too, which is a little bit milder, or you can use some milder fishes if salmon is just a little too fishy. What I've done here is this is just some sockeye salmon. This is fresh salmon that I've just pulverized a little bit in the food processor. I don't want to turn it into a paste, so be very careful about that. You just kind of want to pulse it a couple times. You can chop it up really fine with a knife too. You can also use canned salmon. It'll work as well. You cook it less obviously because the canned salmon is already cooked, but it does work just as well. So I got some salmon. I had 1 egg in here. This is the binder, and I'm going to add a couple flavors. And again, this is where you can customize. So I mean, we're talking about textures, also flavors. Don't throw in something that they probably won't like. Start with the things that work, and then maybe introduce something that's not a far reach. So I find, dill it's got a flavor. You can taste it, but it's a nice neutral flavor. It's not cilantro, which might be a little too much for people.
Some people.
But if dill doesn't work, don't add fresh herbs at all. Sometimes, it's just the color that might not work.
As a general rule of thumb in our house, we usually go with very, very plain seasonings in anything. I mean, maybe salt and pepper if we feel that it really needs something like a bit of a kick, but the difference comes with the way that we top them, right? Because my kids are probably not going to eat the fancy stuff on the plate. They want the stuff that they recognize on top of a burger. And I'm okay with them having whatever they want on top of a salmon burger. If it makes them eat salmon burger, if they want to have ketchup on top of it, you know what? I can think of worse things. Yeah. I really can.
Go for it.
It's about getting it in.
So I've got a little bit of red onion, a little bit of dill. They typically use binding ingredients or fillers, like breadcrumbs, stuff like that. I find with most minces, you don't usually need it, but if you're going to use it, put something good in. Breadcrumbs, they're kind of just.
We get bread all the time.
Yeah, they're kind of
it's all about
you're going to serve it on bread, probably.
Yeah.
So
this is one of my favorites, millet, otherwise known as birdseed to some people.
Yeah.
But millet is fantastic, delicious, whole grain.
Great source of fiber, lots of B vitamins, which we need for a healthy immune system, and they help our body turn the carbohydrates into the energy that we can use.
Nice.
And it's a gluten-free grain as well. So instead of using breadcrumbs, if you did have a gluten intolerance, then you can definitely use millet. It's got a neutral flavor, I find. I know that some people, using quinoa, for example, that has a pretty predominant flavor.
Yep.
So it might not go over well with everyone. Millet has a very neutral flavor. So it's a great one to introduce.
And if you have gone through taste changes or you're still experiencing them, then you definitely want to experiment with some of these herbs. They may not, work for you. So rather than adding lots to this recipe and then trying it and deciding, it's not going to work for you, that's another great reason to keep it simple and then add some different toppings, or, you might want to kind of mix up a smaller batch that you could try using the dill with, just to make sure that you're not going to ruin the whole batch and become discouraged.
So mix it well, and then you can start forming, I like doing little meat or golf ball size meatballs, and then you can flatten them a little bit. And this is a great trick, actually, Jen taught me about, is cook them in a muffin tin.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fantastic idea.
It makes it so that they all kind of turn out even sizes. So of course, when we're trying to replicate restaurant recipes at home, the kids they're pretty big on presentation suddenly. So that is one way to actually keep them. And I find it way easier. Like, you're not. lots of people actually try to put them on the grill, and I look at that and I think, why would you torture yourself trying to flip all of these little tiny things on a grill? It just makes more sense to put them in something like this. I find that way too. They cook fairly quickly in the oven, and then we almost always have extra when we make them, so they actually get packed into kids' lunches and sent to school the next day, which they think is really novel. Their friends, lots of their friends at school get lots of the Lunchable type things where they have these little hamburgers that you're supposed to put ketchup on, and I looked at the recipe, like the ingredients on the side of one of them, and there's like 150 ingredients in these 2 little hamburgers with ketchup. And I mean, there's time when you could say, all right, maybe I'm getting my money's worth for $2.99 because there's 150 ingredients in there. But then you're thinking of your child putting this 150 ingredients into their mouth and thinking, no, that can't happen. There's just too much extra stuff in them.
So make as many as you want into your muffin tray, or even if you don't have a muffin tray, just a baking tray lined with parchment paper will work as well. I have the oven fired up to 400 degrees. It's a little intense, but I don't need to cook them too long. They don't really take too much time. So these are going to go in for about 5 minutes, and then you can flip them, and you can do another 3 minutes or so. They're small, so they cook through pretty quickly. You'll see some of the fat from the salmon will start to come out, so which is usually a good sign that it's getting cooked all the way through. So that's going to go in. And I've done some ahead of time. And you have these really, really nice sliders. And these are another great recipe you can freeze. You can freeze them before they're cooked, so you can kind of roll them out into those little slider forms, put them in the freezer, and then you pop them in the oven when you want them. So they're fantastic to use.
This is a great way to get omega-3s into your diet and to your kids' diets. And omega-3s are helpful for a number of reasons. So for some of us who are worried about our hearts, omega-3s can help to lower your triglyceride levels, which are a bad type of fat in your blood that can increase heart disease risk. They're also great for mood. So people that have more omega-3s in their diet are less likely to suffer from depression.
It's been a really, really amazing experience to see that transformation happen, because this was a little boy that used to sit at the table with us, and if we ate pasta, he would gag while we were sitting at the table because he just couldn't bring himself to get it into his mouth. It's slippery and it would go back and he would choke. So he would watch us eat pasta and he would gag, and that's really hard as a parent to actually watch and to know that you can't really do anything to fix it, because it's a whole long process that involves so many different things to try and fix. So it's been a slow process, but it's happening. It's, you know, everybody goes at their own rate, and he's definitely been doing well with it. But I can totally relate to what you were saying about having difficulties with swallowing and choking, because it's happened way too many times in our kitchen, and it's not fun.
So toppings, I mean, again, I think that's a great idea. Let the kids explore, let them be, choose some different ingredients and introduce some. I know when I was a kid, I was attracted to flashing lights and a lot of colors. So this one would have been perfect for me. And it's, it's a little extra technique. It's a little chefy, but we have some different colored bell peppers. I just chopped them up, did a little dice. I'll show you a little quick trick on how to, I know everyone has their own pepper technique, either ripping out the seeds all over the place. This one I picked up from another chef, and it's really, really nice. You just kind of knock off the stem so that it sits flat on your cutting board. You don't want things moving around. It's really important. And then use your knife to kind of fillet the pepper, and you actually, not only you remove that white part that you try to struggle with later, but all the seeds stay intact.
Ta-da!
That one worked. I was afraid. I'm like,
No monkey noise?
no monkey. You can make noises.
Come on.
You should have made Jen make a face of some kind. That would have been fun.
That would have been
Animal noise of your choice.
Okay.
But then you have your peppers. You don't have to waste time taking out that white part, and you can just slice them like that, and then take your time, obviously, and then just cross-slice them until you get some nice dices. And this is a really, really simple one. I picked different, again, I like the different colors, but you can just stick the red pepper if you want. I've got some orange, some yellow here. Like Jen was saying, I mean, we have, we do live in Ontario. We do have a very short growing season, but we do have the luxury in most grocery stores now of this wealth of produce that you can choose from.
And the bright colors and the variety of colors are going to only help with appetite. And it makes things more appealing for everybody. So definitely go for variety with color.
So I have about a couple peppers in here with a little bit of red onion. And I'm going to also add some vinegar. You're going to add apple cider vinegar. This is white wine vinegar, about half a cup. I have a little bit of mustard seed. Again, just because I like the mustard seed in there. You can add a little bit of, if you want it spicy, add a little bit of dried chili flakes in there to give it a little kick. And then there's a pinch of salt and a little bit of honey. So I've got that buckwheat honey again. And what I'm going to do with this is kind of a template for any sort of relish that you would want to create from scratch. So all the ingredients go in. You're going to turn that up to a medium high, just until it starts to bubble. So you got a little bit of a simmer going. Reduce it to low and just let it go for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And you get this really, really nice kind of sticky, relishy pepper topping that is incredible on all kinds of things. You can do burgers, sliders, salmon.
Excellent source of vitamin C as well, which is an antioxidant vitamin. It helps with wound healing, it helps strengthen your immune system. So it's a great way to incorporate that. Bell peppers, you know, have all kinds of antioxidants in them. And the more variety you go for with the color, the more benefits you're going to have.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's adding some amazing avocado, which helps, you know, increase the calories. You're incorporating a healthy fat, monounsaturated fat. And the type of fat that's found in avocados is called oleic acid. And it actually helps your body to absorb more of the carotenoids in other foods. And carotenoids are basically those antioxidants like vitamin A that just happen to be in our bell peppers. So you're going to get more of that antioxidant power by combining these two ingredients together.
That's it. Use a spoon, not one of these
not a
artsy
palette
tools. Ran out of spoons. But that's it. I mean, a little bit on top, or whatever topping it is.